hi to all the MOOC community.
Hello, Cedric.
Nice to know our MOOC mates.
Hi.
First of all, I would like to thank our 3 panelists, and their bios can be found right underneath this video. And now that you are watching this video, I believe you are already in the section 6.4 of how to MOOC your human services. And I'm very appreciative that these 3 experts in open online learning coming to join us, contribute their time and expertise to the course content building. Without further ado, I would like to start the conversation by directing my questions to the panelists. My first question would be given to Karen, who is a manager of a training department and is an organization known for providing training for a fee. Karen, I'm very curious about your organization's intention of making some of your training MOOCs. As we know, training can bring revenue to nonprofit organizations like yours. So tell us why your organization would be interested in making your training MOOCs. Would that not causing lose some of your business?
Question, Faye. It's an important one because training organizations that use training as a revenue source, of course, have to think a lot about whether to be providing training for free and open as a MOOC would be. I have a few thoughts. I think I will learn as I go because I haven't done it yet, but we have examples of some courses that we offer for free. I think that the model is going to have to be a variety of free and paid courses. And I think MOOCs offer the opportunity to offer foundational content for free. And they also can act as a way to broaden your audience. So what I mean by that is you may be able to produce some content that is general to the whole sector and even beyond your sector and reach out beyond your normal customer base. So by that, you would definitely be driving sales to your paid courses. Now that, you know, I do work at a nonprofit, so I'm not used to speaking about sales and revenue and customers, but I'm learning that it's important. The other aspect of that is that, so those courses, the MOOCs, will be, maybe they could be 2 to 3 weeks of just foundational content for intro or general content. And then perhaps you offer a more advanced course or MOOC or in-person workshop that builds on those skills. That would be a paid opportunity. The other option would be to have your whole MOOC be free, but then to supplement some of the activities by offering live sessions with the trainer. And so that you may offer the MOOC quite broadly, but then some of your customers would pay to have added value content, like live either in person or live web sessions, video conference sessions. So there are a number of ways, and you know, the proof will be in working out what is the best way, and it'll depend on the content, I think. I think we would be changing over our model completely or in any drastic way. I think it'll be small steps, but I think we are a nonprofit. We do, our main goal is to, you know, spread the knowledge, spread the knowing, to develop skills. So perhaps what may help us in the beginning or all along is to secure some partners who will help support the development if for the free product, making sure that we have a built-in audience for our courses. I think that will be the way that will ultimately convince management that, I mean, I'm part of it, but, you know, can convince our board that it's worthwhile to give it a try. We have examples now of an e-learning course, not a MOOC,
Right.
but an e-learning course. And that, yeah, as you know, those are quite expensive to develop. We have a course that's for practitioners that we charge a small fee for. But in the production of that, we also created a course that is for the general public or parents, and that course is free. So there's another way that you can, you know, think about as you're developing the course, what part of the content could perhaps produce some revenue and what could you offer for free. So
That's an excellent point. So Cedric and Anka, do you have anything to say about Karen's, have any comments to adding?
I think Karen is in a position, the management position, so she definitely sees from that perspective. I don't necessarily have anything to add to that, but there was great input.
Anka, you're very right about it. I think Karen's inputs are very insightful. But I also wanted to know about your opinion, because you're a professional trainer and you offer workshops to job seekers to make them more employable. And that's your day-to-day job duty. If we are making these kind of in-person workshops and job training online, where people can access those MOOCs from home and enjoy all this convenience without commuting to your workplace 9 to 5. And there are many advantages to online learning. Don't you feel by doing that, your job will be made redundant? Are you not feeling threatened by this trend?
And I think first comes to mind, anyone asking this question, is yes, absolutely. If everything goes online, I think my job would be redundant. But I had to give a bit more thought to this. And I've been thinking about this, and not only from the perspective of specifically my job and occupation, but I try to broaden this up a bit in terms of training in general, and not only training and counseling. But I've been thinking about this, and I think actually the online portion of in-class training or workshops delivery, I see it more as a complementing, something that is complementing the in-class. I've actually been thinking about advantages and disadvantages for online and in-class training sessions. And I was amazed as I've been brainstorming about this. I have a list of about 10 items in terms of advantages for online as opposed to in class. So I've been going through that and thinking from my perspective, obviously my occupation, but also from the perspective of the attendants and the people attending this, the learners. I know there's been so much talk about it, and obviously the online training, it offers so much flexibility in terms of time in commuting, targeting a larger audience from different venues, different locations around the world. So from my perspective, this gives people a lot more opportunities to network, to learn more, because everybody is kind of thinking in silos in their culture, their country, but opening it up, I think it's an amazing resource to learn a lot more. Also, I've been thinking as a trainer, there's still a lot of work that needs to be done for the online portion of any course. So there is a lot of background preparation in terms of course, curriculum, information, preparation, a lot more work in terms of videos, and something that has to be posted online to make it more available for people to attend. And then, although there is not in class real-time feedback, there is a lot more time consuming in the following up and making sure that everybody understands answering questions. And at the same time, as a trainer, yes, I've been thinking, oh, but maybe they won't be needing 3 or 4 people to do in-class workshop training, and maybe there's only 1 or 2, so maybe that could be cut to half. But I find that trainers who are passionate about what they're doing, they're always going to be more motivated. There's going to be more motivation to become more innovative in what they're doing. There's more competitiveness. So I don't necessarily feel threatened, and I think this is the future. We have to adapt, be flexible, and think about generations to come. So yeah, there is a lot to talk about this, but just kind of to answer your question, I find that I personally am very excited about this because there's always new things to learn. I do not feel threatened, and there's a lot more to gain for the learners.
That's great.
It's very nicely said. My next question would be for both you and Karen, because I wanted to hear from the trainers regarding the issues with intellectual property, how you handle this once you put it online and make it open for everyone to access it for free. Don't you worry about that you're gonna losing your competitive edge and lose your secret weapon of training?
I was going to say that it's such a big question, intellectual property, that you know, everyone is going to have to consider their own situation and what you know, and what it means to them. But if we're going back to what I was saying before, and if you were going to be providing foundational content, general intro content, a lot of that knowledge is already in the public domain. And as a trainer, your expertise is in pulling together the relevant information and focusing it for the learner so that they don't have to sift through you know, the big wide world of the internet to find, and then, you know, they don't have time. There is still what you bring as a trainer, as a subject matter expert, is your years of experience actually doing the work. And I think that will, obviously you'll have to contribute some of that in the course, in the free course, but there will always be opportunities, or at least there will always be need, and you will have to look for and make the opportunities to provide the more advanced skills for application in terms of the coaching, in terms of the feedback, in terms of the really helping people to apply their skills. In a way, what you're doing now, Faye, for us, and giving us this opportunity to expand our technical skills about using MOOCs, and this is a great example. There's always a need to apply what you've learned in theory to practice. So, but in terms of actually protecting your own proprietary content, then I would say have it clearly written out in your contract what you're providing. Are you providing work for hire? Is the agency owning the content? Is it something that is you know, going to be, if it's going to be open, can other agencies use it? Can they use it for profit? No, they can probably use it for educational purposes.
I just wanted to add to what Karen said. That's pretty much what I had in mind. I think it goes back to the fact that we don't necessarily have to reinvent the wheel all the time, as long as the bases are there. And I think that's what makes each session different, again, based on audience and the competition, again, between trainers, where you bring your own fingerprint, your own creativity to make it different.
That's very true. I feel also there's really nothing new under the sun. Right?
There's not much we can create.
and sorry, just to the last point I wanted to make was, it's already happening. If you go to a workshop and you get the handouts and you get the resources, your agency is more than likely paying for you to go and then fill everybody in back at the agency what you learned. So you're doing like a little lunch and learn session. It's already happening on a small scale. So we have to not ignore that, and prepare a little bit more and just build it into the model right from the beginning. That's what I would say.
Yeah, I agree completely. And I wanted to ask Cedric some questions or comments, because your experience is many in academic MOOCs, and you call yourself a MOOC practitioner, and you have been auditing more than 100 MOOCs, and you told me you have completed 50 MOOCs. That's more than 50 MOOCs. That's very, very impressive. So after so much MOOC experience, and you yourself is also an instructional designer and a MOOC producer. Wanted to know your experience with various MOOC creators across the world. What do you think? What's your observation? Why these organizations, educational institutions or NGOs, especially NGOs, why are they in the MOOC?
Thank you for the question. Well, for the instructional institutions, I mean, for the universities, some of the professors, they give the MOOC. Firstly, they are curious about this new teaching method. And secondly, some of them are trying to like self-branding to market his or her theory and let more audience know his opinion. And thirdly, as what we do, the professors use this online materials for flipped classroom. So he or she can give the fundamental knowledge recorded online, and so the teacher can organize the students to make more creative activities in the classroom, and to help the students get better understanding and the use of the knowledge to practice the skills. And I think for the NGOs, most of them, the purpose is for spread their mission and vision. For example, I've learned several MOOCs from various NGOs, for example, the World Bank. So they give MOOCs on the public-private partnerships, and give you the idea how this PPP works, and how to make a better PPP deals and contracts. And they also give courses like risk and opportunities for the development countries, and engaging citizenships. So these are all, I think they are all about their values. So they are sharing, spreading their value and their vision. And I think apart from that, some NGOs or some organizations, they make MOOCs kind of for professional training. For example, I've taken some courses from WIPO, the World Intellectual Property Organization. So they offer 2 free MOOCs, like the basic introduction to the IP and introduction to patent for free. But they also offer courses like advantage courses for at a fee. So these advantage courses, it's they make it for profit, I think, to for training a broader audience instead of, so it can be access to more audience online instead of training offline. And thirdly, I think some of these organizations are using MOOCs for member services. So I think apart from give the courses free or at a fee to the public audience, they can also use these courses to their internal members to improve their member service and improve their capacity, something like that.
That's probably Karen's experience as well, right? Your organization is also a member service agency, right?
It is, in the sense, though, not that they are part of our board. The members don't pay anything to our organization to take our courses, but they do receive a member discount. So absolutely, that our courses are developed with our members in mind, and then they're opened up to the public. That's true.
Yeah. So I think what Cedric mentioned, and Karen earlier on, you also talked about this is a way to branding and marketing of your organization service as well. Put yourself out there, establish a leading role or a position in the industry. I'm going to wrap up our discussing now. If you have more points to add, something come to you after this discussing, feel free to come to our discussing forum and make some comments there. I'm going to say thank you all for making the time to join this discussing, and we're going to see you again online in the course.
Thanks, Faye.
Thank you
I
for
really
all-
enjoyed today, and I look forward to continuing the discussion online with the other MOOC users, MOOC participants in the course. Thanks.
With our MOOCers, our MOOC community.
for organizing this meeting. Thank you, Karen and Cedric. Great input, and I look forward to see the online discussion. Thank you.